Hello! In our poster, we outline the work recently carried out in order to add a selection of inscriptions of the Republican age to the WoPoss Latin corpus. The WoPoss corpus is a diachronic corpus based on texts written in Latin from the 3rd century BCE, for example, Plautus, up to the 7th century CE, for example, Isidore. The main aim of the WoPoss corpus is to enable the investigation of modality in a diachronic perspective. We define modality as the notional domain of necessity, possibility, and volition. The WoPoss project aims at studying linguistic items that convey modality, such as possum, possibilis, probabilitas, necesse est, and so on. In order to understand linguistic variation in the use of modal items, it is mandatory to set up a corpus which is representative of sociolinguistic variables. This is why the WoPoss corpus includes both literary and documentary texts transmitted to us in a direct or indirect way.
The first phase of his work was to integrate a set of pre-classical Latin data into the epigraphic database ROMA. Based on Warmington selection from the 4th volume, Archaic Inscription, of the remains of Old Latins, and thanks to scraping the EDR data. In other words, we checked which of Warmington selected entries were already present in the EDR, which allowed us to define the missing data we wanted to integrate. Each missing inscription was then integrated into the EDR following a procedure that guaranteed the quality of the epigraphic description for each integrated inscription. We relied on the latest scientific publication and provided as detailed information as possible. This work was carried out in collaboration with Professor Silvia Orlandi, who supervised each record. This work allowed us to integrate about 19 pre-classical Latin inscriptions and to ensure a sufficient presence of inscription in pre-classical Latin in the database, which will allow the study of this text by the WoPoss project. Once this work was completed, the WoPoss team made a further selection of relevant inscriptions within the new corpus. Only those inscriptions potentially containing a modal marker were selected to become part of the WoPoss corpus.
We use the ID of the selected inscriptions to retrieve the pertinent XML files from the EDR dataset that is hosted in Zenodo. Through an XSLT transformation, we create a plain text version of the contents of the inscription. This version includes editorial pseudo markup. This is graphical conventions to describe information such as gaps or additions. We also extract at this point the metadata of the inscription that will be incorporated at the end of the process. Then we carry out the automatic linguistic annotation using the Python library Stanza. The output of this process is a ConnellU file, which is a tabular file that contains the linguistic annotation, lemma, part of the speech, morphological features, and dependency relations. This file is then uploaded to the annotation platform Inception, and here the manual semantic annotation of modal passages is carried out, and the results of the automatic annotation are corrected if needed. Once the manual annotation process is over, we export the results in the WiMaCas XMI format. We carry out a new XSLT transformation to obtain a TI file that also includes the metadata previously extracted. This file is validated against our schema, and a revision process takes place to correct any inconsistencies or issues that require a manual intervention of the TI file. Finally, when the file is valid, it's uploaded to the WoPoss database so it can be accessible through our web application.
The WoPoss corpus includes now 74 inscriptions. This recent achievement crucially enriches the WoPoss corpus and enhances epigraphic research by providing a fine-grained semantic analysis. It is possible to access the WoPoss search interface by using this QR code. You can, for example, look for the attestation of debeo and distinguish them between those whose meaning is modal, I must, and those whose meaning is not modal, i.o. Before leaving, we would like to express our thankfulness to all people and institutions that have supported the WoPoss EDR collaboration. If you have a question, please do not hesitate to contact us. Goodbye.